Hello, welcome to 15 Minutes of Consulting Best Practices. My name is Maria Isabel Rios, and I'm joined by David A. Fields today. Hello, David.
Hello, Maria Isabel. How are you?
Good. Happy Monday.
And to you, you're the only place where it's warm. Our entire team is in places where it's cold, except you. So I think we're all gonna visit you.
Exactly. Come on down. We're waiting for everyone. All right. Thank you for joining us this morning. As you know, we answered your questions about your consulting firms in the most tactical and practical ways we can. And we know we share with you our knowledge of working with over 300 clients. And your questions are what make these sessions productive and valuable. So please type them in the comments as we go along. David, do you want to jump in?
Sure. No, I mean, just
Right.
be bold. Be bold. Type a comment. Put something in the comments. If you're live, put something in the comments. And if you're listening to this on replay, be bold and post a comment also. But let's see what we have. So,
all right, Deidre, what's the first question, please?
All right.
Oh, it's a long one. Okay. How specific is specific in terms of my agency service and fishing line? All right, David, this is part of what you've termed a fishing line, which is probably worth explaining in a minute. Is this specific enough? I help B2C marketing leaders and entrepreneurs deliver transformational growth through customer experience innovation, i.e., I'm in the business of customer experience transformations. I can further break the benefits into grow consistent revenue, deepen customer loyalty, and future-proof your business. Is it worth including those in the fishing line, or it makes it too long? And this question is from Matthew. Thank you, Matthew. David, what do you think?
Okay. So, yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. Let me, just for the folks who don't know what a fishing line is the shortest encapsulation of your business. It really just has two parts: your target in as precise and narrow a fashion as you can say it, and the problem you solve or the aspiration you help achieve. That's it. And all your fishing line is meant to do is spark conversation. You don't say your fishing line and then expect people to open their wallets and write you a check. You're just trying to, if anything, you're trying to eliminate people and that are not prospects, and make people who are your best prospects perk their ears up and say, tell me more. Now, having said that, Deidre, we're going to have to unpack this without Isabel, without you and me on the screen, because I need to be able to read what this is. So, is this specific enough? I help B2C marketing leaders. Let's stop right there. B2C marketing leaders is not specific. Literally anybody who joined a firm in marketing out of college thinks of themselves as a marketing leader. So that language needs to be tightened. Sorry, Matthew. You're probably not going to like my answer to most of this. And entrepreneurs. So now you've gone to B2C marketing leaders and entrepreneurs. You have two groups, which means you've just cut your fishing line's power in half. Deliver transformational growth. Unfortunately, those words don't actually mean anything. Through customer experience innovation. So what you're saying here, Matthew, is what you do. You haven't said what the client's problem is, or even what their aspiration is. Transformational growth isn't really much of an aspiration. It's too vague. So right now, your fishing line is extremely vague. So making it more specific is helpful. I can further break the benefits into grow consistent revenue stream, deepen customer loyalty, and future-proof your business. You could pick any of those three, but not all of them, because if you add all of them, you don't have a fishing line. You just have a non-memorable mess. So choose one. Deidre, you can come back to me now that I've gone through this. So thank you all for bearing with me while I read this. You can choose one of those end benefits. A couple of them were more specific than others. You really want to be specific and tight. And what I will tell you, and Maria Isabel, I think it's been your experience with our clients also, is the smaller firms and down into solos have trouble becoming specific because they're afraid of losing clients. And the irony is, as you grow larger as a consulting firm, up to call it $25 million, the narrower you are, the easier it is. So our larger clients have much more precise and narrow targets. You agree, Marie Isabel?
I agree. I also think, and it ties to Daniel's question, why wouldn't you just stick to a sentence and hopefully make it interesting enough? What makes it interesting is the very narrow question of who, right? And everyone is smart enough. Most consultants love problem solving. And so new challenges are interesting. And we need to separate what we want as consultants with what our clients need and our prospect needs, and how do we get traction with others. And so it's being right side up.
Yeah.
And Daniel has a follow-up question, right?
Or
So
an example, something like, right, I help companies improve their bottom line by fixing their broken business processes. So, Daniel, and to then also to comment on Alexander, you said, tell me how you really feel. Yeah, we're not terribly shy. We'll just say straightforward what our thoughts are. I help companies. So companies is not a target, because you haven't eliminated anyone except, I suppose, individuals. But it's, you've got 14 trillion in GDP in the US there. So not companies. You can help a certain segment of companies. That will make you more attractive. Improve their bottom line. Again, that's really kind of broad and vague. It doesn't make you attractive because you don't appear like a specialist. And to your original point, which is, don't you want something that makes it interesting enough to drive questions? Yes, what you were saying, Maria Isabel. People are listening to two things. Are you really speaking to me? So do you have anything to do with me? In which case you need to say, yes, we work with consultants in South Florida. Well, Maria Isabel, that's going to make you perk up more than, we work with executives. So they want to hear you're talking about them, and they want to hear you're talking about their specific problem. And the more general you are, the more you kind of spread your energy, the more you're just sort of like this like a flashlight, often at 100 yards. You're not lighting up anything. Really be narrow and focused. That would be typically our advice. Fair, Maria Isabel? Unfair?
Super fair. And Adam, you have a semi-related question, right? You're asking, is there a resource for multiple examples of close-ended questions to email clients to drive engagement? So I assume you're talking about prospects. Correct me if I'm wrong, and not your actual clients. And the answer varies considerably depending on your relation. Because what drives engagement is the element of connection, right? So can you ask very close-ended questions, right? That drive that engagement? Yes, that's what we suggest largely doing when we refer to the 111 emails, right? Can you ask a question that is specific to the person you're writing to that they can answer yes or no? You're saying, no, those I know well. Okay, your clients you know well. Very good. So you're asking about your prospects. Fair. So yes, it still requires for you to think about the person you're writing to. And to make it close-ended and create traction, make it specific. I can think of several prompts that can help you come up with questions, but I'm sure David has an answer as well. What do you think, David?
Well, I agree with you. I think what we have found is the best way to create engagement is the 111 message, whether that's delivered via email or LinkedIn or some other format. A 111 message, and we have articles about that, is really effective in getting people to conversation. And Adam, it's all about getting people into conversation. Once you're in conversation, then you can ask those non-closed-ended questions, which surface opportunities and allow you to explore projects. And also, slightly, Daniel, I like where you're going with what you've said and the suggestion from someone, and hopefully I wasn't too harsh in feedback to you. There's a suggestion here, something like I help mid-sized industry companies reduce business process time by X%, which is saying, giving an aspiration. We typically prefer problems, but consultants all love to speak to aspirations. And I'm not sure who suggested that, but that's nice. That's much tighter. That's a really good suggestion. So Adam, did we answer your question? And Daniel, does that help?
Okay.
I see a thank you and a thick skin, so we'll go for that.
All right. Deidre, do you want to share the next question?
Yeah, let's do another one. You can do this one, Maria Isabel.
All right.
Listen, whatever this is, it's yours. How should U.S. consultants approach business registrations when performing remote work for clients out of state or for a client out of state or in a different country? Well, I'm glad you have that one.
All right. So you've heard this before. This sounds like a legal question. Yeah. And it touches the boundary between legal and taxation. So we're not attorneys. We can't give you legal advice. What I can share is what we see, right? So we ourselves work with clients that are in geographies that are different than ours, and have clients that are in multi-geography. From our observation, most of the consulting firms we work with do not register their businesses in different states or even different countries. In some instances, even where there are group programs, people are from all over the place. Now, having said that, most of our clients work in spaces where they don't need licenses to provide consulting advice, right? So you do not need a specific type of license to work as a consultant. This is where your attorneys come in and where that legal advice comes in. So most folks don't give much thought to business reservation. If you're concerned about it, speak to an attorney. David, do you have any better advice than that?
I'm staying away from this one. I'm glad you answered it. Yeah, no, this is whether or not to register your business and where to register your business sounds like a question to ask someone who's a licensed practitioner of some sort. And so I don't want us to get into trouble. Though I do appreciate the question. So thank you for asking the question. And if someone else has a question, we've got some good ones in here. We can do another fishing line one at some point, though maybe not today. Let's see. We've got we have time for maybe one more. I'm not sure. We've got like 1 minute. Deidre.
All right. So this one's yours, David. I've decided. A client has run out of money. Is talking about closing their company. Said he's canceling the project and wants everything that Jeff has developed so far. He's paid 2/3 of the fee, but what I have finished is half-baked and would not be at all useful. What to do? David, what to do in this situation? What should Jeff do?
In 30 seconds or less. So first of all, it bites to be in that situation. So I'm sorry you're in that situation. And I'm, your client's obviously not in a great place. So that's unfortunate. It's got to be really frustrating for you. So here's some thoughts. If you acted in good faith and you did excellent consulting work, you are entitled to your fee. And that's especially the case if you included a no cancellation clause, which is something we include in every one of our contracts. Now, that said, if the client's out of cash and can't continue, and if you feel like you've been paid fairly for the work you did, then you may want to just sort of let them out of their obligation. You can't get, blood from a stone. And then in terms of the work that's sort of half done, when a client pays for work, they own the work product. It's fee for service. So a client has a right to whatever work you've done for them, no matter what the state of the work. And again, the only mitigating factor would be if you had a non-cancelable project. So I would probably put together a packet you can hand over, includes a recap of the progress you made, in their feedback, all the materials you developed for them, maybe cleaned up a little bit, maybe indexed to tell them so they can see what it is since you're not presenting it. And it's really just sort of an explanation of what they have, and then also include how they should go forward, right? If maybe they can't go forward now, but they could go forward in the future. So that'd be my answer there. And Marisabel, I would ask for your input, but we're out of time now.
We are. And the questions, Adam, you put in, and the other person you put in, and we cannot see your name right now, we'll address them next Monday.
Yeah, we'll get to them next Monday. And so thank you, Marisabel, and thank you for listening either live or afterwards for spending 15 minutes with us. Something I noted last time, we realized not everybody's read the Irresistible Consultant's Guide to Winning Clients. If you haven't read that, grab a copy of that. You'll be happy. If you don't have Monday live in your calendar, which Deidre put down there, put that in your calendar. It makes it really easy to get here. And submit questions to info@davidafields.com. That's where these questions come into our team. If you're not connected to me or Marisabel, connect to us. Please, please, please. We want to be connected to you. And finally, if you don't read the articles, subscribe. You'll be in for a treat. I like this week's article. So subscribe and read this week's article. Thank you for being here, everyone. Have a fabulous week. Remember, consulting's about them, your clients, your prospects. So give them value and give them kindness. And we will see you next week.
Ciao. Thank you.